Okay, let's see if we can get these new tests to pass. We basically need to make our profiler work in a circular fashion, and that actually is not too difficult. We already have a variable that tracks what frame we're on. Say these, I'll mark it in green. Say these are the individual frames, and this marks the end and the beginning of our array. And so here's the individual frames like so. We already have a variable that tracks which frame we're on, and we just kind of walk it down the array like this. The only issue is when we get to the end, we need to bring it back to the beginning. So we could run it backwards like a typewriter, but I'm going to work a little bit more like a computer scientist, I think, and use a modulo operation. Let's go here. Frame index, that's the variable that's going round and round. And how many possible frames do we have? Well, over here in profiler.h, we have max frame samples that we can adjust as we like. We could also make this a non-compile time constant and adjust it at runtime. But right now we'll deal with the compile time constant. But I'm going to grab this, going to go over here and say modulo max frame samples. And hopefully you remember the modulo is like a division, but it gives you the remainder instead. And it's actually kind of cool how that works. Go look at my assembly programming playlist if you want to see how division works and how it gets the remainder. Anyway, this will give us the remainder. So frame index, let's say frame index goes to 1001. And we modulo that by max frame samples, which we currently have set to 1000. Well, oh, that's 1001, sorry. 1001 divided by 1000 is 1, but then we have a leftover remainder of 1, like so. So that would put us at frame 1. This is frame 0, frame 1. And so that's nice. The modulo operation wraps us around naturally. That's quite convenient. Now that we're able to wrap around, we no longer need to check right here that frame index is less than or equal to max frame samples, because we're doing this modulo down here to just force it to wrap around the circular array. Now just for tickles, I'm going to actually run this. Build started. Build succeeded. We're seeing we're getting a lot of errors now. Obviously, the program is no longer crashing though on that assertion because we took that assertion out. Wow, that's how many did we test? Oh, that's right, we went around several times. Didn't our unit tests go around several times? And you see it ended there. I accidentally closed it too quickly. I want to look at the CSV file that's generated, but I don't want to look at a big, huge CSV file. So let's go back to profile tests. I want to focus on circulating around 1 plus sum. Alright, we'll get rid of the array boundary tests for now. And let's just focus on circulating around 1 plus sum. And just for writing these tests, I'm going to go back to our constant here and say, let's do 10 frames instead of 1,000 frames. In fact, 10 frames. Let's do 5. Keep it simple. If we can make it work for 5, hopefully we can get it going for 1,000, and the logic will be the same. Let me Control Shift S this, and then I'm going to cheat. Instead of thinking ahead, I'm just going to Control F5, run this. And we get the failures. Obviously, these values weren't correct. But I'm curious, if you think, pause the video for a minute and think, okay, so we did the modulo thing, so why are we getting some failures? Pause the video and think about that. Okay, can you think of why we got the errors? There's actually a couple reasons why we're getting the errors, and I don't even have to cheat to tell you that. I just can think of it. But let me, I'm going to cheat again, or cheat. Here's my cheat. I'm going to drag in the profiles.csv file and open it, and wow! Can you tell what's going on? I'd say pause the video for a minute and see if you can think of why we're getting the data that we're getting here, and also think of what we could do to fix this, and also think about, is there an issue with our tests or not? Those are some things to think about. Pause the video, think about that. Now, to be honest, I don't know the answer, but I have my suspicions. My first suspicion is we're just dumping out the array. And remember, the frame index is just going round and round and round and round, dumping all the frames. In fact, we can kind of see evidence of that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know what's going on here. 16, 17, 0, 15. So this kind of makes sense to me, but this part here is like, kind of, but something's not right. So anyway, I have a hunch, so to say. Now, let's go into debugging mode. And I'm sorry if you're getting tired of my debugging modes. If you wish to just jump to the end and go to the next video, that's fine. But I'm on a hunt here, and I'm developing this, and I really want to know what's going on. So first thing I want to try doing is, let's just try going all the way to the end of the array like we are right here, but I'm going to do it right here instead. So build this, run this. Let's see how that changes our CSV file. Oh, the test failed. I actually didn't expect the test to fail. Let's look at that. Oh, yeah. 15. Oh, interesting. Let's look at the CSV file. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, how many frames did we add? All right, if we go back to the test, we added max frame samples, which I set to 5. So I should get 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So why is our test exclude incomplete frames is failing now? Interesting. I think this further confirms that, hey, if you write the unit test, they got your back, so to say. We're tweaking something, we're adjusting something, we're refactoring, we're adding functionality, and all of a sudden we broke a test unrelated to the test that we were working with. And so it's nice to have these tests kind of get our back and show us, hey, this is what's going on. I don't want to slip into this mode quite yet and switch my mental context over to this test. I want to focus on just getting the ring around the rosy working, and like this, ring around the rosy. That's what I mean by that. I want to get that working, and I have a hunch that that other test may start working again. If not, then we can address that issue later. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm feeling pretty good here that this data that we should have had just going through the array once is identical to this data. I'm feeling good about that. Let's see what happens when we tell it to go one more frame. All right, if we tell it to go 6 frames, I would expect this to go to 15. I would expect this to go to 16. I would expect this to go to 17. Okay, does that make sense? Because we said the frame index, we rolled around to here. Okay, well, let's just try adding that one extra frame. I'm going to go here and say max frame samples +1. And I know that I have that up here, but I'm really just mentally right here for now. So Control F5. The test still failed. I expected that. Load the CSV file. And sure enough, that looks good. But this definitely does not look good. In fact, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we output the file, we have some garbage there. We shouldn't have this 6th frame. I wonder, back on my hunch, let's add one more here. I wonder if we'll gain an extra frame down here. Let's run this. We shouldn't have that extra frame. And yes, reload. Oh, look at that. let's do I don't know, let's do +10. Okay, we're going well out of bounds. We know we can only store 5 frames at one time, but obviously when we write out our data file, it's not. When we did the shutdown function for the profiler, we never said, hey, by the way, you're circular, so don't go all the frames that you counted. Be sure to go circular. And what's even more interesting, let me go back to the test here. I'm going to take this back down to 2. Okay, so what would we expect with 2? If I said, let's go max frame samples +2, well, I would expect this to go 18, 19, 20. But then when I output the actual file, this is the data as it resides in RAM or in memory, but when I actually output these profiles, what order do I want to see in my file? Okay, let me I'm going to grab this, copy that, and we'll just drop it down here, and note that right there, this is the actual data in RAM. Let me bring this up so you can see it a little better, but a little bit better. Okay, this is the data as it is in RAM right here. And what do we want to actually output here in the file, in the CSV file that we have? Well, I want to see my frames as they actually went in order. This doesn't tell me anything. If I get a report like this, it looks like this row happened first, and this row happened second, and this row happened third, and this row happened fourth, and this row happened fifth. When that's not true, it's really this one was 1, and this one's 2, and this one's 3, this one's 4, and this one's 5. At least as ordering goes for the samples that I have kept as I'm going around and around my circular array. So I would really expect the output to look more like this. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I want to see it in the order. So even though underneath we're doing the circular thing, me as the consumer of the profiler class, I just want my CSV file to be in the right order and show me the last 5 frames that we profiled in the proper order. Okay, well guess what? Our tests don't test for that. And before we go modify our shutdown function to write the code out in this order, we need to first modify the tests to check for that order. And chances are we may screw up the test doing that. But again, the tests verify the code verifies the tests. It's a double check, and hopefully you're seeing the value of unit testing and what it adds. We'll continue that in the next video.